Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Raise your hand if you're an XRP holder who is ready for some good news. Did everybody's hand in the class just go up? I know mine just did, and I'm the one talking, damn it. Here's a headline from crypto media outlet You Today. XRP holders will soon be able to trade Spark token, which is FLR for short. I could take a little bit of that. So, look, there's a little bit of a silver lining. Despite what's happening with the SEC allegations against Ripple, on the bright side, even if that's some sort of shakeout by design or not, at least people, didn't start selling their XRP out of fear until they had sufficient coverage to the degree they wanted to, if they so chose, so that they have exposure and can claim the Spark token if they so choose. So, I mean, imagine if the allegations came out like just a day or two or three before the Spark token snapshot, rather. That would have been a little bit messy, right? That would not have been good. So at least we've got that coming, and it's going to be traded very soon. So I'm going to be running through that story with you, as well as this one from the Daily Hodl. Rise of digital currencies could render SWIFT payments network obsolete, says Central Bank of Russia. Oh, how about that? Now, here's the interesting thing. It's not something where they are talking about Ripple or XRP. They're talking more so, I'll get into the details once we get into the video for real, but they're talking more so about just it becoming obsolete because you can use yourself cryptocurrency. That's a part of it anyway. That's why I've always thought, or central bank digital currencies is what they're getting at here too. But I've always thought, okay, yeah, but if you're talking about central bank digital currencies, then it's not a global solution. It's a walled garden. And if you're talking about people just moving money around themselves, which you can do today actually without on-demand liquidity, you're talking about having to onboard like a crazy number of people, which is why Ripple's on-demand liquidity platform has always been so freaking cool. You don't have to onboard retailers in mass in order for it to work. Just if there's already some people trading, if there's sufficient liquidity in quarters, then you can just make the magic happen. But anyway, before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap the like button, I'd appreciate the support. And if you like the idea of the Spark token getting done traded right quick, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, which is the best channel on all of the YouTubes. And I actually pulled up this from BitTrue. So BitTrue is the entity, the cryptocurrency exchange that is very pro XRP, by the way, pretty much always has been as far as I can recall. And so this is their this is a little press release on their website explaining the details of the Spark token trading. So they're going to be, unless somebody ousts them or beats them to, I'd be shocked. If somebody beats them to the punch, they're going to be the first platform to allow trading of the Spark token. This is cool news. Let me explain why, because look, you're not going to... The Spark token isn't even distributed yet, but just let me run through this. Flare Networks have recently released some further details about the upcoming Spark FLR distribution. In particular, the distribution ratio of XRP FLR has been calculated at 1 to 1.0073. So what they're saying there is, for every XRP you have, you're going to get 1.0073 FLR. And I've been trying to get the damn Spark people, the Flare Networks, to respond to some of my questions, and they seem to be giving Moon Lambo the stuff. I'm sure they're not. They're probably just get inundated with all sorts of stuff on Twitter. But I've asked them, I'm like, so just like XRP is divisible by 1 million, so there's 1 million little pieces of every individual XRP, like how many little units of a Spark token are there? Is it divisible by 1 million? Whereas, for instance, Bitcoin is divisible by 100 million, so there's even more little individual pieces of a single Bitcoin. And I'm kind of curious here. They've never answered that. Anyway, but they write, you can read more about how this number was determined on their official blog, which I'm not going to go through in this video. I've talked about that in the past. And then they continue. With this information, we can now... Wait, is that a broken sentence? With this information, we can now the amount of XRP... I mean, no, that's what it was. I read it so quickly earlier, I was like... I didn't even catch it. My brain just did it, like it fixed their mistake. Anyway, I guess they're trying to be like Crypto Media, which is a bunch of C students that don't check their work. And good job, BitTrue. No, I like BitTrue though. Anyway, with this information, we can know the amount of FLR that each XRP holder on BitTrue is due to receive. Although the initial drop of 15% of your total FLR entitlement is due to happen in Q1 or Q2 of 2021, Bitrue will allow you to trade your FLR on the XRP/FLR pair starting January 6th. Did you guys hear that? So basically, they're letting you trade something that is labeled as Flare, Spark tokens rather, which isn't actually it because it's not been distributed yet, but it's a representation of what that will be. So you can already start speculating on the, what it should be worth. Well, in this case, what it is worth, I suppose. And then they'll just swap it out for the actual thing as soon as it's available. Interesting, is it not? Anyway, they're right. We will be conducting the initial distribution of each user's FLR entitlements this Wednesday, December 30th. So, oh, and by the way, they cite this too. I want to mention this. Not available to United States users until the actual distribution occurs. So we here, this is me, I'm in the Midwest in the United States. We here in the United States will be able to partake, but not until the real Spark token is actually out there. So it's kind of interesting to think about. You know what? I'm not even mad. Just like open the market, like start speculating on this thing that I don't even hold yet, but I know I own and I'm entitled to anyway. Well, I haven't claimed mine yet. I'm going to. Mine's, all my XRP is in cold storage, so I still have the right to claim it up until 6 months after the snapshot was taken on December 12th, which I have every intention of doing, damn it. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the open market price is once this gets rolling here, because this will be the only market in the world on January 6th, the only market in the world that has an open market price for Spark tokens. Right now, it doesn't even exist. There is no price for Spark because it hasn't been created. Markets have not been created for this. This will be the very first glimpse of what it might look like. And not that we should necessarily expect fireworks, but you know what? There's been some freaking bad news lately, and this is some good news, so I'm gonna take it. And now we've got this piece from the Daily Hodl. Rise of digital currencies could render SWIFT payments network obsolete, says Central Bank of Russia. The rise of digital assets could radically transform the way money moves around the world, according to Russia's central bank. First Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Russia, which is CBR for short, Olga Skorbabogutova, definitely enunciated that properly. Hashtag zero doubt, by the way. Anyway, Olga says a total of 30 central banks are exploring digital currencies, with several set to launch in the next 5 to 7 years, reports Russia Today. And so, yeah, as far as central banks, launching their own digital currencies, we did get the first this year, and it was the Bahamas. I always thought China would have beat anyone to the punch because that's all that was in the freaking news. And then out of nowhere, I was like, Bahamas launched a central bank digital currency. I didn't even know they knew what a central bank digital currency was. And then they launched a mofo, which is cool. This is real world progression. Awesome. They're adopting new technology. I tell you what, I know what I hate, and I don't hate that. So it's good to see it. So here's the thing, and I'll cover more of this in just a second, but just this idea of these walled gardens being able to take out SWIFT. Oh my gosh, look, maybe you can take some market share, but it's not a global solution. So you'd have to have like a crazy amount of walled gardens, but we already saw that, how that played out with the advent of the internet. Like the comparison that I always like to bring up is when I was a young lad, and I'm 37 now, so I'm not that young, not that old. But anyway, when I was in my teens, the internet was a much different place. There were a lot of walled gardens. There was America Online, familiar with AOL? Yes. There's Prodigy, there was CompuServe, and the cool one that all the cool kids had at my school and throughout the entire freaking United States, if not the rest of the world. I guess it would just be the United States back then because it was a walled garden, right? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. Actually, I legitimately don't know if AOL's reach was outside the United States back then. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's getting off rail here. But the point that I wanted to make was that so my father chose for our family to have Prodigy, which my friends didn't have. None of my friends. I was the only one that had Prodigy, and my friends would ask me, to go email or chat on America Online. I couldn't. I was like, why not? They said, why not? I was like, well, because I had Prodigy. Like, what the hell is that? I know, it's Prodigy, whatever. It's just another walled garden, and I couldn't email my friends. It was a closed network. And so, it's not that there were just an increasing number of walled gardens. The walled gardens pretty well went away, right? And then there was a level of interoperability that made the internet as we know it today possible. And so if the vision here is that there's going to be a bunch of walled gardens thanks to central bank digital currencies Good luck. Good luck. Good luck making that work. Even if banks embrace them, you got the same problems with geopolitical preferences that you have today then. The only solution that mankind has devised requires a technologically sufficient decentralized cryptocurrency with an open market price. But that's not the right route that they're talking about here. But anyway, Olga says the digital version of fiat currency could be so efficient that the international payments network SWIFT, which currently has about 11,000 financial institutions and sends over 33 million transactions per day, may no longer be needed. And here's a quote. Then we can deal with direct integration issues. In this case, SWIFT, it may not be necessary because it will be a different kind of technological interaction. Well, at least they're getting part of it right. SWIFT is not going to be... It's going to go the way of the dodo, my favorite extinct avian creature. Either that or it's going to lose such substantial market share that it will be a glimmer of its former self, to sound dramatic. All right, I'll wrap it up there, though. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.